And we are live. I'm presuming, I don't think there's anyone even in the chat. Anyway, so what are we doing here? I have recently been developing a systems utility application, specifically around PC hardware. So in the top left corner, you can see there's this widget here. So basically what I'm testing is just see how it handles specific games. So I'm just doing a live test of the widget running with Quake Champions here. So with that said, though, what this actually does is it's checks the frames per second, but you can see it says FPSS, so it's frames per second seen. So it tells you the frames you're actually seeing, and it's restricted to your monitor's refresh rate. So this is a older monitor, it's only 75 Hertz, and I'm just testing it. I'll explain a bit more about Task Marx after this and show a few things, but this is just a live test. Just thought I'd test out the YouTube live streaming. The app comes out on the 10th of May on itch.io, and yeah, it's I think it's pretty good. So as you'll see at the moment, it's not reading much. It's only showing 0 frames or 2 frames. So how it works is it looks for activity within the monitor, within your screen itself. So when I say screen, it's seeing what's being rendered on the screen, and then it looks for changes, and then it starts to count. So as you can see, it's now there's activity on the screen. You can see there's also
Prepare to fight.
various different modes.
Round begins in 3, 2, 1. Fight.
Oh my word, look at getting handed. So you'll see it says, as the screen's only 75 Hertz, as soon as you see the plus sign, you can see it's getting more frames than it can actually see. So it will indicate that by allocating a plus sign on the frame per second metric there. So 73, now 75 plus or 76 plus, because it knows there's more frames being rendered, but because of the screen limitation, it can't see those frames. We are only interested in what frames we can see. And keep in mind, this is all handled by the CPU. It's got nothing to do with DirectX or Vulkan or OpenGL, nothing like that. So the advantage there is that this application, or should I say this widget, which is part of the Task Marx application, can count the frames of any application. So DOSBox, Windows Media Player, VLC, whatever you want to see, it can count those frames, obviously within the limit of the refresh rate of your monitor. But because there is no GPU requirement in theory, the entry level and being able to use the application, it can be used by anything.
Quad damage.
When you're 20 feet tall and throwing lightning, then you can face me.
Leave tide.
So Task Marx also doesn't just do frames per second. You can create overlays and desktop widgets for system hardware stats information, so you can get like your CPU usage, your RAM usage, CPU temperature, GPU or graphics card, like your GPU temps, usage clocks, VRAM clocks, anything that's hardware that Task Marx can access, you can allocate it to a widget or overlay, and have it display anywhere on your screen. It also supports multiple widgets and overlays, so you're not limited to just one. You can have as many as you want, and you can allocate them or put them anywhere on your screen. Task Marx also doesn't just do widgets and overlays.
Incoming protection.
Tools and stuff built into it, so there are 4 different CPU benchmarks. There are also live RAM feeds. There's also a RAM stress test as well to test your system memory.
Protection spawned.
There is also
Protection.
processor, like a processor's tab, or should I say part of the application that you can see all the processes running on your system, where you can then see what the processes, like their resource usage, so how much of the CPU is a certain process using, how much disk usage
Impressive.
is it using, RAM usage, disk usage, as already mentioned, network usage. If I'm repeating myself, I apologize. But yeah, the application does a whole bunch of things. I'll run through it and give a quick demo at the end of this. So you can see on the FPSS widget, you'll see there's a game controller, a white game controller icon that's in red. So currently that is indicating that the the widget is running shoddy shot.
Netmaster.
How did I not?
Impressive.
Oh. That's just indicating that the widget is running in game mode. When I say game mode, basically how it looks for the changes on your screen works slightly differently to the other 2 modes. So you'll see there's 2 little film reels, one with green horizontally and then one with green vertically. So that's just indicating how it's looking on the screen. Like, is it looking for changes in the pixels from a vertical perspective or a horizontal perspective? And as I say, they have their purposes.
Incoming quad.
So horizontally works better for, like, say for example, you wanting to see how many frames per second for a video that is playing. And then horizontally, you could use it for video as well, but say for example, you're running a certain
Quad spawn.
say for example,
Enemy has the
Blender
quad.
or something like that, where there's more horizontal than vertical activity. That's where that would come in. But again, it can be used for whatever you feel fit for, where you need to see how many frames are being generated. Obviously, again, within the limit of your screen refresh rate. I've got 2 other monitors, both of them 144 Hertz. That, from what I have tested, it works pretty well. And again, it's going out on the 10th of May. There is a 40% discount on day 1. Usually goes for $7.99. You'll be able to get it for under $5. And we are just testing the FPSS widgets. I'm actually running on one of my very much older machines. With developing software like this, you need to obviously be able to test it on a variety of different setups. So this is actually an Intel Core i7 860 first gen with an old GTX 970. The 4 gig GPU, that's actually a 3.5 gig in theory. I remember when this GPU came out and there was that big controversy around the marketing of it, where yes, there's 4 gigs of VRAM, but 512 megs of it run a bit differently.
Incoming protection.
It's almost like the other 512 meg that forms part of that 4 gig of VRAM almost works like a slow cache. It's yeah.
Protection spawned. Enemy has the protection.
How can I not let this go? Not time.
Shot.
Oh,
Round to serve. Surrender is not an option.
Incoming quad.
Is it quad? What damage? Oh, I think someone's already floating around.
Quad spawn. Quad damage.
Oh, dear.
Everything is good to go.
5-minute warning. Denied. Revenge. Excellent.
Son of a...
Not good. I'm in need of health. Badly.
Killing spree. Excellent. Lead tied. Triple kill. Lead taken.
Make it stop.
Come on, come on, come on.
Red master. Lead tied. Incoming protection.
Damn stupid portals. Taking me to damn stupid places with damn stupid monsters.
Protection spawned. Enemy has the protection. Protection. Party breaker. Lead taken. taken.
Sons of bitches.
Incoming quad. Quad spawned. Quad damage. One-minute warning. Netmaster. Excellent. Killing spree. Impressive. Damage dealer. First place.
Okay, so let's run through the app quickly. Let me show you. So here's the application. I'm going to close that. So we have a CPU details panel. So here it loads up all your CPU information with the live feed. It does support multiple CPUs. So for example, if you're running on a server, you'd see multiple CPUs here with all the information. So your CPU thread usage, core clocks, temps, whatever temps we can get, along with your base clock, the current clock, and then the max clock the application has witnessed, along with a usage graph here. A number of cores and threads, the model of the CPU, the manufacturer, etc. So that's just and these are actually draggable, so you can move them around how you see fit. Then we have CPU benchmarks. There's 4 different benchmarks. You have your all-core benchmark, so that initiates quite like a full load on all your cores. There's a single core benchmark. It's the same as the all-core. Only difference is it only targets one core. Then we have our rendering benchmark. So these benchmarks basically, it's a light load, but it's initiated over a constant, how to say it, it basically tests the efficiency of your threads of your CPU, but over time. It's a constant load, but it's a low load. And you'll actually see what happens is your CPU optimizes itself because it starts to cache common instructions being sent to it over time. So you'll see it basically tests how your CPU alters itself and optimizes itself for common operations that are happening over and over again, and is a multi-workload and a single workload, and it renders an image, and it just does it over and over again over a certain number of times. You've got reference scores as well for different CPUs per score, per benchmark, should I say. Just going to run through this quickly. Then we've got the RAM details. So this just indicates how much RAM your system's using, how much is free, and your total. And then you can also select individual RAM modules and then get information per RAM module installed in your system. Then we have the RAM stress test. So you allocate a threshold. So this is the RAM can't go below whatever you specify here. So I've set it hard-coded that it won't go below 384 megs of RAM. So when I say 384 megs of free RAM, you obviously need RAM free for your system to run. So as soon as there's only 384 megs of RAM left, will it then start validating the results? So I'll show you what I mean by that. So you can see now free RAM is just going because it's now filling your RAM up. So what will happen is as soon as there's only 384 megs of RAM left, will it then stop the test and start validating the results and pulling the values that it's written into your memory out and validating. So I'm just going to stop the stress test. otherwise we might be here for a bit of time. Then we have GPU details. So this is now just all the GPUs installed on your system, and you can obtain information on them. So I can see what is installed, the amount of VRAM, drivers, etc. Then you can get live stats, so CPU clocks, power, temperatures, loads, fan usage, control. So the fan control is actually, that's 46% that it's running at. VRAM usage, and a few other things. Alright, then to the left here we've just got, as I said, driver information, your default monitor resolution, then your current refresh rate for your monitor and the max rate that it can handle. Then you can actually test your refresh rate of your monitor here. So we're actually testing it now to see that it is what it says it is. Okay, then we have processes. So this is all the processes running on your machine. It's pretty straightforward. Think of it as in your Windows Task Manager when you go to the details panel, or tab, should I say. It's pretty much the same thing. So what it's actually doing right now is it's just syncing with the operating system. So it's obtaining all the details for all the processes running, and then what it will do is it will list them and then update them as new processes stop and start on the system, on your system itself. And there's a couple of other features that I have here that are pretty cool. So you can order by list and all that type of stuff, order by columns and things like that. So let's just do that. And you can check your net usage. So that's net send and receive. So that's the number of bytes sent, number of bytes received. They don't clear. So the values don't clear. So what's quite nice is you can actually go and see what is running and sending data over your network. You might have applications or processes running you didn't even know that were. Then you've just got your disk usage, CPU usage, RAM usage, name, etc. If I select, for example, a application or process, should I say, you can then get the information, open the location as to where that's, so you can actually see here, I open this and it will go and select it. We're going to stop the process. As you can see, Quake has disappeared in the background. So yeah, that type of functionality. There's a couple of extra options here. Just running through this quickly. Then we have what's called our sensors and widget information or details here. So this is now all the sensors that Task Marx can access for all your hardware on your system. So we've got CPU information, so that's your thread loads, your temperatures, your clocks, voltage, CPU load, but that's overall. GPU information, so power, core, memory clocks, your GPU core temperature, your hotspot, loads, fan, memory, VRAM usage, etc. Then you've got your actual generic memory, so your system memory, hard drives, network adapters, motherboard, etc. So what you can also do with Task Marx, as I mentioned earlier, you can create your own custom overlays and widgets. So here's one I've already made. So what you can essentially do is you can select whatever sensor you want, you add it here, you can change font sizes, colors, so on and so forth. So I've already got one created here, so let's actually open it. So there we go. So now I can put this anywhere on my screen while I'm gaming, working, and I can obtain all sorts of information that I want to see in real time for my PC, for any hardware I want to see it for. And as I say, you can create overlays, you can set the transparency. I've got the transparency or opacity at 78%. And again, if you don't want it transparent, you don't have to have it transparent. And you can have more than one widget running at a time. So let's open this widget now. It's just a standard widget here. And there we go. We've got two widgets running side by side, updating in real time. You can put them wherever you want. Send them to the tray. You can close them. I'm going to close this one. And then here's our FPSS widget with our various different modes. And yeah, that's Task Marx, guys. As I say, if you want more information, you can see the video live feed description for more details there. Thanks for tuning in if you did. Otherwise, if you're watching this later, have a good one. Cheers.